You know, priority one, I think when you, hey, what swing pieces should I do, what should I focus on, is what pieces directly correlate to me hitting the ball solid. So ball first, ground second. And so if I hit 10 shots, like how many out of 10, X out of 10 do I currently hit solid? And maybe right now you hit 5 out of 10. Like, all right, I want to get 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and focus on that first. The second priority I would do would be direction. So like, if I'm hitting it pretty solid in the beginning, but they're going a little left, right, who cares first? But then certainly I want to have some kind of general pattern. And to me, that doesn't mean I have to hit them perfectly straight. It just means they need to start on one side and curve one way. And so I would call that for us like priority 2. What things in your swing might help that? And then the last part would be overall distance. Like, do you hit it far enough to effectively be able to play? And I think once you get the contact, you're gonna have plenty of speed. Distance isn't gonna be a problem. So it's really, what do we need to do contact-wise? And so we'll look at the video part, but just to clarify from a contact perspective, our objective here, for me as a righty, if this is where my ball sits, is to be able to get that club head to work down and hit the ball first, right? And then the ground second. So what pieces are we gonna have in here that's gonna have that golf club coming down and hit the ball instead of the ground behind the ball, right? Because you would say your main issue would be hitting the ground behind the ball. So a couple pieces, right, that are gonna affect where that club hits the ground. I'm gonna move that, but again, let's sort of assume that we're right here. Put a little T in the ground there. Let's say we're like this. And we'll put it this way. So the first thing, let's take the club back to about hip high. And let's just say we have the club to about like this position here. So and let's loosen up your arms just a little bit. So if I make my downswing, me getting more weight, or you getting more weight onto your right foot early would help that, right? How about the club relative to your arm? If I had this club get like in line with your arm and farther from your body early, would that help or hurt? Yeah, that would hurt. That'd make you hit more fat. What if I had that club head feel like it stayed back behind me more? It didn't get in line with this arm, right? I feel like, you feel anything different there with your wrists compared to normal? So if I come down and this wrist starts to flatten and that club gets in line with my left arm early, I'm gonna hit too far behind it, right? But if I look at this, imagine this is like there's a line coming out of your left arm like this. See how that club head stays behind that line, stays behind that line, stays behind that line, all the way too. That would help our cause in terms of hitting more forward, right? And so the two pieces we'd want to focus on to be able to do this is the weight pushing forward into the lead foot early, and you're keeping and maintaining this angle in your wrist, we'll call it, or this arm staying in front of the shaft for longer. I want to talk about CogornoGolf.com, where you and I can work together on your golf game regardless of where you are in the world. And it's where I hang out every day. You guys see here in the YouTube videos, in the YouTube comments, I'm there. But to really be able to expand upon that and help you guys, I need to see your swing on video. That's where you can send it in. We have a group of world-class coaches and an awesome community of golfers. I'm in there literally every day talking with everyone and posting content. It doesn't come up here on YouTube or anywhere else. It's awesome, awesome community to help you improve your game, take your game to the next level. You also get all of our practice plans, all of the master classes. It's a ridiculous deal that you get, in my opinion. You're gonna absolutely love it. We'd love to help you with your game. We'll put the link for Cogorno Golf down below. So when you come down, let's say at the setup position, your wrist is fairly flat. That's normal, right? Now during your backswing, gradually, that wrist would bend back. Soften this up and bend it a little. Just loosen up, good. So this would bend quite a bit. It's like fully bent back. Now, the more you throw that and you lose that angle, yeah, the club head's gonna get closer to the ground, more fat shots, and it kicks the ball outside of the ball target line. So as soon as you bend that wrist back now, bend this back as much as you can, yeah, bingo. That gets the club much more inside, right? And it's higher from the ground for less fat shots. Now from here, get your arms more towards my body. You feel that? So now your hands are forward, the wrist is bent like that. So for you, because your arms and hands, keep your hips here, your arms and hands are behind you and the wrists are thrown, this would be your bad version. To get to normal, by the time you get to impact, let's say your hand should be about over your left shoe or leg, that's got to feel like your arms and hands are forward, right? Like much more forward compared to normal.
Yep.
And that wrist is going to stay bent back compared to normal. Those would be the two feels. If I'm doing these little chip shots, this right wrist bends back here. It stays back at impact, bent back, and it stays back even in the follow through. Now that's slightly exaggerated. Of course it should throw eventually, but for you, I want to feel like it stays back. So let's do left hand only. Let's go back to about hip high. Let's bend this back, good, soften this up a little. And this stays bent back, good, and stays bent back. So it never throws. Hip highs, where you're just focused on, let's bend the wrist back, good, keep it bent back, all the way into the follow through. Never throw, see how through? Yeah. Now you just have to go slow with this in a minute just to train that hand. That's exactly right. For you, that'll feel like, man, I'm really holding on forever, right? Good. Awesome, dude. Keeping that trail wrist bent back is going to help eliminate the fat shots because it keeps the club head farther from the ground, and it's going to eliminate the heel shots right in the shanks because it keeps the club head inside your hands. Let's put your right hand on, so both hands, and feel the same thing. Yep. After that bomb you dropped. Yeah. Yeah. So how I want you to be able to do this, watch this for a sec. So if I was doing this towards the camera, right? Let's have you over here for a second. I want to be able to hit shots, and I'll hit one and show you for a minute from this side. That right wrist, right, is bent back for the trail wrist. It's bent back here, but even as I hit these shots in my follow through, see how my wrist is still bent back? Now, again, exaggerated to fix the issue. So if I'm gonna hit a punch shot here in a second, I'm gonna feel like that trail wrist bends back, stays bent back. I'm actually gonna hit it, and even in my follow through, if I look at the camera here and my trail wrist is bent this way, the club head is to the right of my hands. If I bring that back down to impact, that's just my normal shaftling that I want. So all I'm really doing is transporting that into here. So let me hit a little punch shot so you can see this. And this is going to take a couple attempts, right? Your brain's going to want to throw that wrist compared to normal. So I bend it back, it stays bent back all the way through. So the club head stays right in my hands the whole time. So see where I finish? So that club head always stays right in my hands. Right in my hands, right in my hands, right in my hands. Excellent. So trail wrist bent, club head on this side of your hands, toe right on top of your heel. Let's do that again. Arms loose, give me a couple waggles. Good. Okay, loose again. Keep them loose. Good. Beautiful job. Bent, club head on this side, toe on top of heel. So each time when you're doing your rehearsals, you check those pieces. Check those pieces, check those pieces. Toe on this side of your heel is going to make the ball go this way. This is neutral, right? This would be curved that way too far. If I go back and my lead arm is a foot from my shoulder, and your issue when you come down is the hands and arms are too far back and the wrists are released early, right? And that's the piece that makes the club head hit the ground behind the ball. So we have to do the opposite of each one. So what's the opposite of the hands too far back? That'd be getting the hands more forward, right? Now to get your hands forward relative to where your body's going, you need to feel like that arm goes from a foot away from your shoulder to 2 feet, to 3 feet, to 4 feet. Now notice I'm doing that while my shoulder stays back and my hips stay closed. Now, are you really gonna do that in a swing? Absolutely not. You're normally really open with the hands back, so you have to feel like that left arm gets farther from your left shoulder without the rest of your body doing anything, so that by the time we get to impact, the hand's over the left shoe. And the same thing with your wrist angles. You need to feel, because it's here, fully thrown, that it stays bent longer. So for you, it's lead arm away from the shoulder, trail wrist bent, and your body's going to feel like it's almost staying closed longer. Good. Yeah, exactly. So you got to get this farther from that without anything else moving. It's going to feel stupid. Get a little bonus hug. This is premium members only. Let's do that again. Up to the top. Pull that arm away from your shoulder and keep your trail wrist bent. Exactly. Good. Good. Okay. So like, let's say here, your flag's right in between the 200 and the red flag. When we're doing these pieces, we're curving a little bit to the right. So I would say you're aiming like at the 200, right? Yep. You're over the ball, aiming at the 200. And I'm thinking from here, my arms are loose. I'm going back hip high. And I'm getting my arm in front of me. I'm getting my arm more forward, getting my right arm away from my shoulder sooner. That'd be the main swing thought, the main feel to start the downswing. Arms are soft. Cool. Beautiful. So like that's the contact we want. Now that ball's hooking a little bit too far to the right, which like, yeah, it was like a 20-yard draw, which is good. If that was our main issue in the beginning, I'd be thrilled, right? I want to get the contact pieces good. That was beautiful. Again, same thing from here. You're going here, the arm's forward, and the wrist is bent. Those are those pieces to keep exaggerating those. Same two things. Good. Arm soft, get that right arm away from the shoulder to start down. Yeah, good. So the main pieces we're looking at here, right, is to really help the fat shots and get the ball pattern, right? We said solid contact part 1, ball pattern part 2. We're getting rid of the left shots, which I like. A couple of curves to the right, but for the fat shots, we're shortening the overall backswing. So it feels like it's about hip high, right? Go ahead back. We're saying with your right arm, take this arm off. We're saying with just your right arm, your sensations, you're feeling you're getting your right arm in front of you sooner. So the hands get almost even with your leg by the time it's parallel to the ground. Exaggerated, but that's your sensation. Now go ahead and throw your left hand back on. And that left wrist is feeling like it's staying, bend this one a little bit. It's feeling like that's staying bent longer. And both of those two pieces will help the club head stay above the ground, right? And inside that ball target line and get off the heel shots. Okay. Now we're doing, so you can relax, we're doing some full swing, full speed, but really when you're practicing it, we're gonna practice from hip high into that, show me that follow through one more time that we were talking about. So we'll go back to just hip high and then into follow through. And when we get into the follow through, exactly, this wrist is gonna feel like it stays bent, the club head is on this side of your hands, and the toe is right on top of the heel. And this is how you can control your curve. This makes it curve more to the left. This makes it curve more to the right this way. This would be just dead neutral. Do to get your hands forward relative to your body for the first couple weeks is really going to be to exaggerate your arm getting forward compared to your body. That's going to be the big part. Cool.